What is space? Space which thought has created is one thing. Space that exists in heaven, in our, in the universe, space. There must be space for a mountain to exist. There must be space for a tree to grow. There must be space for a flower to bloom. So, what is space? And have we space? Or are we all so limited physically to living in a little apartment, little houses, no space at all outwardly, and therefore, having no space, we become more and more violent.
Yes.
And space is necessary. And we have no space physically, with more and more population and all the rest of it, and therefore more and more violence, more and more living together in a small flat, 1,000 people, crowded, breathing the same air, thinking the same thing, seeing the same television, seeing the same, reading the same book, going to the same church, believing the same thing, the same sorrow, the same anxiety, the same fears. My country, all. So, mind and so the brain has very little space. And space is necessary. Otherwise, I stifle. So, can the mind have space? And there will be no space if there is a direction. There is no space if direction means time. And when the mind is occupied with family, with business, with God, with drink, with sex, with experience, occupied, filled, there's no space. So, when knowledge occupies the whole field of the mind as thought, there's no space. And thought creates space around itself. As the me enclosed and you enclosed. We and they. So, the self, the me, which is the very essence of thought, has its own little space. And to move out of that space is terror, is fear, is anxiety. Because I'm only used to that little space. Not being, and the being is in the little space which thought has created. So thought can never give space. So, meditation is the freedom, is the freeing of the mind, of its content as consciousness, which creates its own little space. So, from that says, is that possible? Because I'm occupied with my wife, my children, my responsibilities. I care for the tree, I care for the cat, I care for this and that. And I'm occupied. World is getting more and more overpopulated. Cities are going more and more, spreading, suburbs and so on. Man is getting less and less space. Therefore, driving out animals, killing killing the American Indians, killing the Indians in Brazil and so on. They are doing this, actually going on.
Oh, yes.
And having no space out there, outwardly, can there be space inwardly? When there is space inwardly, there is space outwardly. Yeah. But the outward space is not going to give the inner space. The inner space of mind that is free from occupation, though it is occupied at the moment, with what it has to do, which is occupied, but free. The moment it finishes, it's over. I don't carry the office to my home. It's over. So, So space in the mind means the emptying of consciousness of all its content, and therefore the consciousness which thought as the me has created ends, and therefore there is space. And that space isn't yours or mine, it's